you see someone that has rotator cuff tear prior to surgery, some of the tests that you can do are to measure the range of motion of the shoulder. For muscle testing, you would do like internal and external rotation. So I'm going to do this on your other arm. Can you like just bring your hand to your stomach? Okay, and then can you bring it all the way out this way? All right, and do you feel any pain through here when you do either one of those movements? No. All right. So if they have, you know, you've got supinator, you've got the sits muscle, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, subscapularis, and there's often they consider the biceps tendon a fifth muscle, and so the pain, it could be here, it could be here, and you could also bring it up in this area. Sometimes they have more pain, and then can you put your hand down here? Okay, and then can you bring it up here? Okay. So that would just be like, you know, the active range of motion, seeing if there's any pain. You can do the muscle testing. If you remember in class, we did the against muscle testing with them on their stomach, and then they would do this way and that way. Some other tests that you can do, one is the Neers impingement syndrome test. So you bring your arm out at a 45-degree angle, like this is 90 and that's 90, or this is straight, that's 90, so in the middle, and you have the little finger up, and so can you bring it up? All right, and see if that hurt? All right, and then take it down really slowly, like lower down gently with your own muscles. Okay, and if any of that movement hurts, then they may have a rotator cuff injury. And then also, there are some other tests. One of them is, review it. Can you put your hand in the middle of your back? So that would be internal rotation. Does that bother you? No. All right. So any of those would be sort of tests for the rotator cuff injury. And then they're gonna, after surgery, they have surgery. And I will say the trend now is to have OT and PT first. There's 4 grades of tears, and they used to do surgery if you had a worse tear, like 3 or 4. Now, oftentimes they'll just get just as good results with therapy. But after therapy, or after surgery, if they do have surgery, they'll have this sling with the adductor pillow. They have to wear this for, 4 to 6 weeks. And so you work with them on, how to do, since we're doing IADL's work/education, you have to work around them using this going back to work. So if they have a desk job, they might be able to, but they have to type one-handed. They're not able to drive if they're on narcotics, so they have to wait till they get off narcotics to be able to drive. So it's going to be at least, 2 or 3 weeks at home before they're going to be able to go back to work. And if they do like construction work or heavy work like that, it may be up to 6 months that they have. So they might be in therapy a good, 3 to 6 months, depending on the kind of job they have and how baseball players have a lot of pitchers have a lot of rotator cuff injuries. So they have to be rehabbed so that they can get that volume back and be able to pitch. And so that's a long-term type of thing. All right, so they only take this off when you're showering the first few weeks. And so I'm gonna have them taken off in therapy, and we're gonna say it's 3 weeks, because at 3 or 4 weeks, having your arm in this position, they can get a frozen shoulder easily, which means that they're sort of get stuck with their shoulder not being able to move. And so I'll post a video about how they can safely take their sling off, and then after you have your sling off, I'm going to show you how to do some pendulum exercises so that your shoulder doesn't get stiff and lock up on you. All right, so let's scoot you around so that you can rest your arm on the table. Okay. she has the weight of her arms supported by the table. And then can you duck your head and with your other hand take the strap off around your neck? Good. And then just gently slide this off from the elbow. All right. Did that give it a twinge or anything? Didn't bother it? All right, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to have you stand up, and let's have you support your arm while you stand up. Okay. And then I want you to gently let your arm down by your side. All right, so all the time you're sort of protecting the surgery. And then I'm going to show you what to do, and then we're going to do it together. All right, so I want you to lean forward, don't do it yet. Lean forward, and then I want you to move your body in a little circle, not your arm. Keep your arm still, but move your body in a little circle so that your hand makes little circles on the floor. All right, and let me get on that side of you. So over here, scoot over just a little bit. Okay, good. All right, so lean over. And then your body, take little circles. Yep. So that's how you start doing your pendulum exercise. And it keeps your shoulder loose. So you can do this for a few days. And then I want you to progress where you're just very gently moving the shoulder a little bit. So not just your body, but you can move the shoulder muscles just a little bit. Okay, how's that feel? All right. Okay. And then I want you to straighten back up a little slowly. Okay. Then I'll have you sit back down. Okay. So, teaching someone pendulum exercises helps keep them from getting a stiff shoulder, especially if they're older. You have them in that sling for more than a couple of weeks. They start getting where they can't move their shoulder at all. You also want to show them how to do active range of motion exercises every place but the shoulder. So, during the day, I want you to be able to move your arms, keep your shoulder to your side, move your arm up and down. You may say, do this 2 or 3 times a day when you're sitting around. And then let's move your arm. Let's do it this way. I don't want you rotating your shoulders. So just back and forth several times, and then just relax and release. A lot of times they have swelling as well, and this gentle active range of motion helps with swelling, but you can see I'm sort of supporting her arm when she's doing all those kinds of things. All right, let me see if there's anything else. You can hold this arm up with your other arm. Make sure there's nothing else that I want to show you before we move on. Okay, so at this point, depending on what kind of work they did, you want to talk with them about, well, let's put you on the ice pack first. So if there's any movement, new movement, there may be some pain and swelling. And so at the end of therapy, you're going to be putting them on an ice pack, but let's see if they're sling back on first. So hold on together, yeah. And then sling back on. And then we'll put ice pack on it. And then while we're on the ice pack, so I'm doing the ice pack last because she's done some things in therapy that she's moved a part that hasn't moved in a while. And that may cause some pain and swelling. And so if she doesn't already know how to put her sling back on, then you would teach her how to do that. But I would say, let's put your arm in first. And make sure that the weight of the arm is resting on the table, so you're not using your muscles. Sorry. Especially challenged. Right. But yeah, but make sure she's not using her shoulder muscles to support the weight of her arm. The table's supporting it or her other hand is supporting it. All right, so it's not until 5 or 6 weeks that they can do without the shoulder. All right, and I want you to put that back on over your head and put your abduction pull back on here. So the right healing position is with the arm abducted away from the arm, from the body. Okay. And now you can do this at home anytime after you do your exercises. If you feel a little pain, you some swelling, you can keep that ice pack on. And people that have rotator cuff surgery may keep their ice pack on several hours a day right after their surgeries. And they can do, they can leave it on for 20 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour, and then leave it off for a few hours and then put it back on, so they can do it off and on. Some of them have, I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a system where there's ice in a bucket and it circulates through an ice pack, so they can keep it on at night as well. All right, so let's talk about what you need to do before come back for your next visit. So you might be seeing them 2 times a week or once a week. It really depends on their age and lots of other factors, their work, that type of thing. So when you're at home, you can take your sling off, making sure to support your arm, and do those little pendulum exercises that we talked about. And as you know, every week we'll progress you to doing more activity. You know, and you might ask them a little bit about their job. If this is her 3rd week, she may be planning to go back to work soon. And so let's say, you know, you're a student. So what kinds of things do you think you might have trouble with being a student with after your surgery?
I feel like it can be kind of hard to talk for long periods of time.
Okay.
Write notes or take notes.
All right, and so then you could tell them about the dictation function on their computer, and if we're not familiar with that, just show them how to do that. Pull that up. So one of the things that you haven't done it before is you can open a new document, and if you go into edit, and this is on a Mac, I'm not sure about PC, and start with word dictation. So say a sentence for me.
This is orthopedics class. It's so much fun.
All right, so type this. Say a sentence for me. This is orthopedics class, and it's so much fun. All right, so it's time to say. Have you ever used that? I use it a lot. Okay.
Just click it twice.
Okay, I use it a lot because I have a neck sport pain. If I'm on the computer too many hours a day. Yep. All right, but you want to do something connected with their work. If they're returning to work sooner, you know, to talk about adaptations. They may need somebody to drop them off and pick them up if they're not driving yet. If they're going to be off work for a while, then maybe they're picking up some roles at home, like they're doing more things with the kids, or doing more things around the house, or so talk with them about trouble they're having doing certain things and problem solve with them. I don't come into a session thinking, oh, I need to do this with them. I let them tell me what's important about what they're not able to do, what's aggravating them, frustrating them, and then we figure out how to do that. All right, and then this point would be when you introduce your article. You can do some of the other things that I have set up around here. Before she had surgery, you could do kinesio taping of the shoulder. I think we have kinesio tape over on lights. You can do that on the shoulder as well. Generally, when someone comes in with an injury, it's inflamed and you're going through that wound healing process, if you knew how to do ultrasound or electrostimulation, they would be appropriate. No, we're not trained in that yet. So pre-surgery things and post-surgery things are different than what you do. You could do Minnesota rate manipulation test because it's gross motor. Anything that involves a shoulder movement component test you could do. There's also a shoulder pain and disability index, which is like them filling out a self-questionnaire, so that's helpful. A lot of times people get referred to therapy, and on the referral it just says shoulder pain, and we have to figure out where that pain's coming from. Is it arthritis? Is it rotator cuff? Is it a break in humerus? We don't always get a definitive diagnosis. They just, refer to shoulder pain and then to figure it out from there. All right, how am I doing time-wise?
You're cutting it close. You're a little bit over, but I gave you a little bit more time since you took a little bit to.
All right, any quick questions? All right, let's move on to